Welcome back to The Market Chef, and we've got Chef Ryan here in the kitchen with us today.
It's good to be back, Rob.
So Ryan, the mighty Kale, are you a lover of this?
I'm not a lover, I'm one of the biggest fans. It's incredible, versatile, use it all year round in any kind of recipes. But where's this from, Rob?
This here, the mighty Kale, is grown by Chris Molyneux, your neck of the woods, Lancashire, and they are the only grower that can grow cow for 12 months of the year, Ryan.
Wow, that's incredible.
But what allows them to do this, Ryan, is the deep, dark soils that they have there, and purely just their expertise.
That's because everything that's great comes from Lancashire, Rob.
Agree to disagree with you on that one, Ryan, but what I do want to know is what you're going to cook me up with these here today.
So I'm going to make a fantastic dish, Rob. We're going to celebrate, a central product, which is an egg, and what these incredible vegetables, kale in particular, can add value to a beautiful egg. So I'm going to do a twist on a classic little bubble and squeak number focused around kale and Tropea onions.
Bubble and squeak. Let's get cooking.
So here we are again in the Market Chef kitchen with County Supplies, and we've got some incredible ingredients today that we're going to bring together to complement each other equally. Now we've done a few dishes now here in the kitchen where it's been all about the vegetables, but today we're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to bring some lovely ingredients and a few different variations together with an egg, a perfect poached egg. Everybody wants to know how it's done. We're going to show you here today in the kitchen. Also, we've got some incredible ingredients to complement that egg in the form of calcot onions, Tropea onions, the English hen's egg, and then we've got some variations of the onions in a raw form. And then we've got some crispy Tropea onions, and we've also got some beautiful Cavallonero and some Lancashire curly kales, just to bring a bit of savouriness to the dish, so that they all sing together, complement each other, and all take centre stage together. So to get started with this dish, we're going to start with the onions, cooking the onions and some of the kales that we talked about. So we've got a beautiful Tropea onion here and a calcot onion, really delicious. Now the thing about these is you don't really need too much work with them when they're fresh. Just the first layer takes the dirt off as well, but also it's usually the first layer is a little bit weathered, not really nice. Once you cook it, it goes a little bit paper-like. So really important to take that first layer off. So the same with this one. Now the thing, what I love about this onion is that it's got a beautiful rich colour, like a red onion, going into like a spring onion kind of finish. And they're really sweet when you cook them, overly sweet actually, really beautiful. So now we've got those prepped down nice and clean. Just take a knife. Something to be aware of is that once you get the top of the stem there, where it meets the top there, you usually get where it lifted out of the soil, and as it lifted out of the soil, it took a little bit of dirt with it. Really, I always cut that little section out, which you can see, usually about 3 to 4 centimetres or about 1 inch. It's just worth, even if you wash them, you'll never get the grit out. It's a nice little tip from the kitchen there, and we can save those bits for the end. Now with these, just want to cut them down, leave them nice and whole, maybe the nice bulbous bit there, in half. And we're just going to toast these up with some olive oil. So olive oil goes in. I love cooking with olive oil. People say don't because it's carcinogenic. All oils can be. I wouldn't really worry about the science behind it. It adds a beautiful grassy flavour, and as you can see, I put it in a warmish pan and then I'm putting things in to cook it. It just doesn't have a high smoke point, so don't go getting it smoking and then putting stuff in it because it will deplete the flavour of the food. I think I might just go one more of those onions. So I like all onions, not just spring onions, summer onions, late winter onions, sexy Italian scallion onions, you name it. I'm all down for an onion, especially these little beauties here. So we've got the pan going, you can hear that nice little gentle sizzle, and that's what we want. We'll turn the heat up a little bit. We just want to almost get to a point where we're kind of cooking them, they're still slightly raw in the middle. Get some of that kale in there. Now with the kale, don't worry about oiling it. We want to kind of char that a little bit, Sweet barbecued greens are absolutely phenomenal. So we'll pop some of that in there. Get that sizzling away, and that onion flavour is going to come out, complement the cabbage, the kale really well. And then pinch of salt. Really do love the smell. You can smell this now, really delicious, really intense onion flavour. And look at the colour in there, so beautiful. One of the delights of my day in creating dishes is seeing produce this good from the market, super fresh, and doing as little as possible to get the best out of it. So onto the eggs we go. Just pop those there for later. So we've got some incredible eggs here. Perfect poached egg. How do you do it? Well, it took many years of trying different methods, but I've got a simple method here that should be a no-brainer for anybody that wants to learn how to poach a perfect egg. First things first, I always use English eggs because they've got a lion stamp, nice and healthy, nice and safe, vaccinated chickens. But without going too far into the background of it, you just want a nice heavy egg, not got too much air in it when you shake it. Nice little crack into a colander with a bowl underneath. Look at the holes here, not too small, so that you can keep the egg together, and any old egg yolk, any watery egg white, will just drift out at the bottom, and therefore leaving a nice strong white case, which is going to encase the yolk and give you that nice round finish to your poached egg. So I always have this rule at home, especially because I've got a young family, is if you want 2 eggs each and there's 4 of you, you need 8, just do 9 or 10. You might always have an accident, and there is a little bit of a kind of natural, unknown mystery about poaching eggs, that some of them just don't come together. You know, it's Mother Nature, they're natural, you don't know what's inside an egg, and when you cook it and all the white leaves and you're left with this little yolk, if you've got 1 or 2 extra, then it's really no problem. So a nice little tip as well. So I need 2, but I'm going to do 4. But I like eating eggs, so nothing goes to waste here in the market kitchen. So, as you can see, nice little wobble. You just see almost the white just running free there. You can just move it around gently. Just allows some of that extra watery white to come out until almost no more. As you can see in the bowl there, it's about a tablespoon of unused white. That's just going to give us a nice little start. So, just need a little bowl here. Pop it into a bowl, nice and gently. Into the water we go. So I always like to start off with a nice little swirl. We're not trying to create the river rapids by any means. You just want a nice little swirl, a nice little current. So as the egg falls into the water, hot water surrounds it really fast and creates a nice little shape. So in the smooth way of the current, you want to slowly just drop the bowl into the water and let each egg just drift away into that current and hopefully form a nice little capsule around itself. We're going to poach them now for 2.5, 3 minutes until they've got a nice set white around them, ready to plate. So here we are now with the onions. So back to them, if you just flip them over, and you can just see we've got that nice kind of caramel texture on one side and really, really beautiful toast. You got to remember, onions, brassicas, cabbages, carrots, peppers, courgettes, they're all incredibly sweet. And that sweetness, if you just char the outside of that sweet casing of all those vegetables, about 10%, you've got 90% of sweetness to kind of work with that bitterness. And bittersweet really works well with the palate. It's a real nice pleasure that we like. So for all of you at home that are wondering how to do that perfect egg, we've talked about the freshness, we've talked about the delivery into the hot water, whether you need vinegar or not, and it all really comes from the freshness of the product. And the beautiful hen's egg today is incredibly fresh. So we dropped it into that current, and as it hit the swirl, the hot water just encases the outer layer of the protein of the white, forms and encapsulates that yolk and protects it. And all you're trying to do is just cook it through for a couple of minutes. Don't go back to the pan. If you start to swirl it around, saying, look, this is what Chef Ryan said on a market kitchen, that's not what we're trying to do here. We're just trying to cook it now, and you've got that nice shape, just leave it. If you do start moving it around too much, you risk kind of breaking that outer layer and losing some of that beautiful white that we're trying to preserve. So a good way to kind of check them after a minute or so is just to tease a little bit of the water up underneath the egg with a tablespoon, pull it out of the water, and as you can see, we're probably about 2 minutes in there. Depends how you like your egg. The term snotty, as my mum would use, I don't like my egg snotty, I don't either. I like a cooked egg with a beautiful runny yolk, and that's usually around in water like this, which is about 90 degrees, 95 degrees, just below the boil point. you're probably looking about 2.5, 3 minutes max. And you can feel an egg when it's on your plate. You know what that feels like when a chef delivers it in a nice restaurant or somebody's cooked you a nice one before. Just relive that moment when you're cooking your own eggs and make your own presumption. If you get it wrong this time, don't worry, you can do it again next Saturday. So here we go, now it's time to plate. Our eggs are just about there, beautifully cooked. We all know how to make the perfect poached egg now. We've got our toasted onions and kale. Let's get plating. So I'm gonna start with a few of the onions on the plate. Now I might be a little bit chefy about it. It's all going in the same place. You could throw it on there. I'm just gonna build a platform for the egg to sit on, so when we cut into it, the egg yolk just dribbles down and kind of encases the whole dish. So you can just hear that as well. The crispiness on that kale. It's kind of like steam roasted. Really, really sexy textures, you know, textures that get you excited. You can hear it being crispy and soft. You know the egg's gonna be delicious and yolky. Let's go for the best one here. Let's find a really nice one. There's so many to choose from, I'm just being greedy now. So let's pop that, turn it over. On top there, and let's finish the dish with some of the raw onion. So just a nice little texture going on there. Now these are the same onions, just sliced. Tablespoon of rice flour, 140 degrees in the fryer just until they're golden. The same with this black cabbage known as cavolo nero. Just a little piece on there. Sprinkle of salt. And there you have, kind of, it looks like a little bit of a twist on the bubble and squeak, doesn't it? Onions, egg, just missing a potato. So there you have it, a beautiful dish of an English poached hen's egg with some textures of different onions, beautiful savoury delight, finished with some of those lovely brassicas, cabbages, from me, Ryan Stafford, the market chef and county supplies. Robert, you lovely man, come and try this delicious dish.
So come on, Ryan, just remind me again, what have we got here? Because it looks...
It does.
Bang on to me.
Rather beautiful. So we've got some toasted onions on there. We've got some English kales in the form of black cabbage and crispy curly kale. And then we've got an absolutely phenomenal British hen's egg. Poached very, very simply, very clean, with some different textures of the onions. Tuck in.
Looks beautiful.
I always feel the pressure at this point.
Oh, the orange in the egg.
Oh, who cooked that? It's all in the taste though, chef, right?
Definitely, I'll tell you.
Nice big onion on there. Good?
The sweetness of the onion and the crispiness of the kale and the cabbage. Now that is a Saturday morning brunch or a hangover on a Sunday. Get it on your list. Ryan, amazing. Thanks again.
You're welcome.
Market chef, county supplies. That is bang on.